dirty. And we do have... Wow!
Oh no!
You gotta be kidding
Oh
me.
my goodness!
Yesterday in qualifying, we witnessed Alexander Rowe continue his amazing performances by scoring his first pole position of the season. Outside of that, there are 5 playoff drivers in the top 10, and if Indianapolis has anything to go by, these guys are going to fight tooth and nail. And now they have to deal with a short track that promises chaos and great racing, so let's see what's going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 24 of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series. Welcome to the KC350 at Iowa Speedway, race 2 of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series playoffs. Hello everybody, my name is Alexander Vitale, and to briefly explain qualifying, Alexander Rowe has won a race previously at Dover, that chaotic race where everybody ran out of fuel. And now he has put his car into pole position, and of course, one of the main topic is of course the playoff drivers, but the side topic is of course if Alexander Rowe can claim his second win of the season, and this time, hopefully, this time in a little bit more. Well, I'm not gonna say legitimate, but in a much more normal way than what happened at Dover. But yeah, the main topic is, of course, the playoff battle, as it will be basically the playoff battle for the remaining of the season. And as I stated, we got 5 drivers of the 12 playoff drivers are in the top 10. Gary Movadell will be starting in 3rd. Then we get Jeffrey Fingai starting in 4th. Then it's Bryce Egan starting in 6th. Nathan Stapleton starting in 8th. And Richard Fogelman starting in 9th. Then we got Zane Davidson starting in 12th. Andrew Williams starting in 13th. Lara Koshbar in 15th. Crown in 16th. And Troy Williams in 19th. And Philip Torres all the way down in 21st. So, yeah. From the top 5, there are some considerable gaps between the top 10, of course, the rest of the 5 playoff drivers in the top 10, and of course the rest of the drivers out of the playoff drivers outside of the top 10. But yeah, but as you saw from Indianapolis, these guys do not really. These guys are going all in, as they should. I mean, they're fighting for a championship here. And if Indianapolis was a chaotic race, only God knows what's going to happen in Iowa. Because if I remember correctly, last year's race at Iowa was quite an eventful one, and we actually saw a taste of that when I think it was Reggie Fogelman that crashed into the barriers, exiting into turn 3 and turn 4. And in the front straight, he crashed into the barrier because these drivers go very, very close to the barriers. So we might actually have a pileup happen today. Of course, we will. Of course, the hope is that it doesn't involve any of the playoff drivers. But of course, nobody knows anything until we actually see it. And speaking of the and actually another side topic would be the battle for best of the rest, and which is currently right now led by Zachary Fitzwater. And guess what? Fitzwater is starting in 2nd, with his nearest rival Avery Alford starting not that far away in 7th, but the other guy in Tom Sloan starting all the way down in where is it, 22nd. So right now Alford looks to be the biggest threat to Fingai's teammate, in Zachary Fitzwater, for the bragging rights of being the best of the rest, the champion of the best of the rest. So let's see, and of course we will see. Of course, we'll be hoping that finally Zachary Fitzwater can claim a win in 2025 in what is going to be his retirement year. Not on just in the PSRLA because the PSRLA is shutting down, but from NR in general, from driving duties to focus mainly on ownership duties. So let's hope the best for the former greatest NR driver of all time. Of course, I say former because high Roger Roof, as always. But yeah, there's pretty much nothing else to be said other than, guess what, folks? It's time for racing.
Drivers, start your engines!
The command has been given. These cars were all on any minute now, any second now. And here they are. And so, Alexander Rowe will start on pole position. Second alongside it will be Zachary Fitzwater. Then it's going to be Garrett Movedell, Jeffrey Fingay, Angel Gutierrez, Bryce Egan, Avery Alford, Nathan Stapleton, Reggie Fogelman, and Justin Perez rounding out the top 10. 70 laps ahead of the drivers. 3/4 of a mile of a track this is. So if things go caution free, this is going to be pretty short as the pace car rolls onto the pits. Alexander Rowe and Zachary Fitzwater lead us to the Napa restart zone, and green flag is in the air, and we're away at Iowa. And we got a crash already into, and there's Stapleton got involved. That was Luke Evans also. Luke Evans got involved. Stapleton got involved. There's a big pile up at the backstretch, and it's already starting it as everybody's diving for cover. You saw there Justin Perez also being involved, and not even one lap in, and we are already under caution. You saw there Movedell almost overtake Alexander Rowe and Zachary Fitzwater. He almost overtook Zachary Fitzwater, and very likely would have been taking the lead. But now all of this has been aborted because we are under caution already. And ooh, okay, bit of a checkup right there. Of course, Santa Mendoza and Tanapari rounding up the rear of the field. And with that, let's check the replay to see what caused the first caution of the race. First caution of the race, not even one lap in. Nathan Stapleton goes wide at the exit of 2. Justin Perez is going to take advantage of the situation, but unfortunately Stapleton closes the line. He doesn't notice Perez, and boom, crashes into Evans and Andrew Williams. Fortunately, Perez manages to avoid spinning out, and not much damage to any of these guys, but a lot of scare, and of course a lot of quite the pain in the so-called for both Williams and Stapleton, considering they're playoff drivers. But at least they continue. At least they can keep the race going. And with that, see you trackside. And we're back live here at Iowa Speedway for round 24 of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series season. We're coming out of the caution. And the top 10 is Alexander Rowe, Zachary Fitzwater, Garrett Movedell, Jeffrey Fingay, Bryce Egan, Angel Gutierrez, Avery Alford, Reggie Fogelman, Luke Evans, and Nathan Stapleton. Rounding up the top 10, of course, Evans and Stapleton being the causes of the first caution. Basically, at the beginning, lap 1. So we're going to restart the race on lap 6 as the drivers go side by side for the restart. And the pace car pulls back into the pits. Rowe and Fitzwater will lead us back to the green flag. And here we go. Back in the green we go. And Fitzwater's going to get an amazing launch off the line. And looks like it's probably going to be a drawn 1-2 if Fenga is going to make the move stick on the outside of Rowe into into the backstretch. Although right now has the advantage. And we got a caution once again. And who got involved? And that's Andrew Williams. Another playoff driver got involved. And I believe also Bruno Giacomo got involved as well. So, in the meantime, Fitzwater was able, Fingay was able to overtake Rowe before the caution came out. So we have a Durrani 1-2, and of course, everybody will. This three will dive into the pits. Somebody else is following. Does so Egan does, Gutierrez does, Alfred does, Movadell decides to stay out. Of course, we focus on the race leader in Zachary Fitzwater, followed close by his teammate. As Carrison also decides to not pit, he follows Gutierrez. Of course, just fuel, and Fitzwater will come out of the pits first. The Finga will be in second. Then Alexander will be in third. Then it's Egan, Alfred, Gutierrez beating Davidson by his bumper, by a quarter of a car. That is Kashmar, Fogelman, Monaco, Stapleton, Crown, DiGiacomo, and Neely. And with that, let's check the replay to see what caused the second caution of the race. Caution number 2, and this is the second caution in a row involving Justin Perez and Andrew Williams. You saw there, Perez hits the wall. Williams is right there. Perez has absolutely nowhere to go, and he sends Williams into a half spin. He pretty much he carries the car throughout the whole length of the backstretch. And somehow both Neely manages to avoid any contact. And now Williams is on the wrong side of the track and the caution is out. Outside of that, however, outside of that little scare, Williams can continue on. And with that, see you trackside. And we're back live here at Iowa Speedway for the KC's 350, round 24 of the 2025 PSRLA Capture Race season. We're coming out of the second caution of the race, and the top 10 currently is Gary Movadell, Jonathan Carrison, then we got Carson Miller and Brendan Beal. Of course, both cars have become modifieds. Then it would be Zachary Fitzwater, then it's Jeffrey Fingay, Alexander Rowe, Bryce Egan, Avery Alford, and Angel Gutierrez rounding up the top 10. And just behind Gutierrez, we got the three playoff drivers in Davidson, Koshmar, and Fogelman. Then we got Eric Monaco, and right behind Eric Monaco, we got another 2 playoff drivers in Stapleton and Crown. But in the meantime, the pace car is going to pull into the pits. And notice that Carrison has a bit of damage to that car, while Movadell's car is pretty much fine, as these two lead us back to the green flag. Green flag is back into the air. Lap number 21, lap number 11, sorry. And Movadell looks to be taking the lead. In fact, he is going to keep the lead. Let's check out what's going to happen in the rear of the field. And everybody's going to keep it clean. So we're going to finally have our first full green flag lap on lap number 11. And Gary Movadell is going to lead this lap. Of course, Carson Miller is going to hold up basically everyone due to the fact that he's a modified, and caution is accounted once again, and ooh! Okay, Anthony Mendoza got involved, Bradley Ring got involved, Jack Haas got involved, James Miller got involved, I will say Tanner Partner also got involved, also Salstry and Liva become modifieds. Also, there's extensive damage to Taurus 6 car. So at least we were able to do at least one green flag lap. And now this race looks to be a race we're going to have a lot of modifieds. And of course the race of all time, but that's I want to use more terms than just that. But let's check the replay to see what caused the third caution of the race. Caution number 3. We are looking at the heavily damaged car of Brandon Ream and Ryan Little. What happened is that Ream goes wide at the exit of 4, hits the barrier. Ryan Little is right behind them. Of course, Ream has absolutely nowhere to go. They both go into a spin. Ream hits Duncan Ward hits both Ream and Justin Perez, as Ream also hits his teammate in Haas. William Ayers also gets involved in the melee. So does Sostry and Evans, while D'Amelio hits Mendoza, also involved in the melee, and Gardner gets stuck. Parton manages to get through. So does Luke Evans in the background. But yeah, this has been the classical crash that we've seen at Iowa even last year, and we saw something very similar to in qualifying. So this was a crash that had to be expected. And with that, see you trackside. And we're back live here once again at Iowa Speedway for round 24 of the 2025 season. We're coming out of the third caution, and just as we were cutting to the replay, the leaders pitted, which explains why now Jeffrey Finguy is now leading the race, followed by Alexander Rowe, Dane Davidson, Anko Gutierrez, Reggie Fogelman, Lara Koshmar, Nathan Stapleton, Bruno DiGiacomo, Anthony Nickel, and Ali Anderson Jr. So right now we had only one full green flag lap as the cars go side by side once again for the restart. We're going to restart on lap number 15, on lap number 16 actually. As the base car pulls into the pits, and Alexander Rowe blows an engine. Let's see if they're gonna make it stand. They're gonna make it stand as Gutierrez takes the lead of the race, coming to the line. But Alexander Rowe has blown an engine, so second win is not gonna be a reality for Alexander Rowe. In the meantime, everybody manages to get out of the backstretch clean, and now Finguy takes the lead of the race. We finally got another green flag lap, and now it looks like Stapleton is battling with Reggie Fogelman, and contact between Stapleton and Fogelman. Stapleton pretty much forces his way out, and we got a caution once again, and that looks, that's William Ayers, and that's once again Philip Torres again getting involved. Then maybe also Denny Johnson got involved. And yeah. You saw there Duncan Ward and Blaine Keys in the pits. And of course everybody's gonna dive in except Finguy. Finguy is gonna stay out, but Gutierrez goes into the pits, as does Koshmar and Davidson. Pretty much a good chunk of the playoff drivers except Finguy goes into the pits. DiGiacomo, Stapleton, Fogelman. You saw there Anthony Nickel. There's Andrew Williams, Justin Perez. Carrison stays out. So does Bryce Egan. And now William Ayers joins the grid of modified cars. And so does Tom Sloan and Charlie Davenport. But let's check the replay to see what caused caution number 4. Caution once again. We are looking at Philip Torres at the exit of turn 2 and into the backstretch. Torres goes wide. Sostry makes contact with the wall. And Mendoza, apparently he's unable to watch Torres because he tries to clear him, but Torres is right there and they make contact involving Movedel. all these three guys go for a half spin until turn 3. And there goes Carson Miller and Troy Williams Jr. They both hit the cars. Miller hits Mendoza and Williams Jr. hits Torres, and Little also hits Troy Williams Jr. You see there at the corner of the screens, William Ayers also involved in a very similar wreck just behind them. But yeah, once again, the turn 2, the exit of turn 2 and the backstretch is quickly turning into Calamity Corner. And while that was happening, Ryan Little goes wide at the exit of 2. He's got Avery Alford going through as Tenneparton hits the wall. Little tries to clear, but Carson Miller's right there. They involve Avery Alford. Miller almost sends Troy Williams Jr. into trouble. Danny Johnson hits William Ayers, sending him into half spin. As of course the Torres crash was happening right ahead of him. But plenty of damage to all these cars. But amazingly enough, the damage is not terminal, so all these guys can continue on with the race, even though they have a set of ruined tires. And with that, let's go back trackside. And we're back live here once again at Iowa Speedway for the KC's 350, round 24 of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series season. We're coming out of the caution once again, and it's a Durrani 1-2 for at the restart. Then it will be Gary Movidell, Jonathan Carrison, Bryce Egan, Carson Miller, Avery Alford, Troy Williams Jr., Brandon Beal, and Eric Monaco rounding up the top 10. So 4 cautions in, and we haven't even reached out the halfway point of the race. You only did 2 full green flag laps as the pace car pulls back into the pits. The 2 Durrani boys are going to lead us to the restart on lap number 22. And back on the green we go, and Fitzwater gets an amazing launch off the line. Finga gets bogged down, and then my luck carries him through as well as Fitzwater leads into 1. And now, that looks like Finga is going to try and takes the lead from himself. Everybody is clear off of the backstretch. There's somebody in the pits, and that is Tenneparton. Side by side between the teammates, and Fitzwater is still in the lead. Although Finguy is not gonna give in. We finally got, and we're slowing down again, and yep, that's another caution. That is another caution at the rear. So I would assume it's still going to be the 2 Durrani boys at the restart, unless these guys are going to pit. And in fact they do. They're going to pit. Isabella's going to stay out. And the answer happens to be, well, it's definitely not going to be Crown nor Gutierrez. It is Koshmar or Miller. But in the meantime, let's go back up front to Zachary Fitzwater. So I believe this is caution number 5 for us. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be the race with the most amount of cautions. As Fitzwater leaves the pits, getting beaten by Jonathan Carris, and you saw there are also a couple of modifieds leaving early than Fitzwater did. And while the field resets, let's check the replay to see what caused caution number 5. caution once again. We are looking at St. Davidson, but in reality, you should look at Carson Miller, who hits the wall. He involves Troy Williams Jr. and does start the chain reaction. He hits Koshmar. Williams goes back into the wall. It involves Monaco, and Davidson makes contact with Blink Keys, and there's everybody going through. Stapleton hits the 51 car. There's Ream almost crashing into Keys. There's also Joshua Neely getting involved. There's Justin Perez getting involved. Ryan Little is getting involved. Carlos Oshry. Ryan Little almost crashes into Hunter Mendoza. Jack Haas squeezes by Torres. So does Torres. But yeah, that was a bona fide pile-up. And actually, come to think of it, a good chunk of these crashes have all involved playoff drivers. So this definitely was not a good race if you had a pink banner on your car. And with that, see you trackside. And we're back live here at Iowa Speedway for the KC350. We're coming out of the caution, and apparently the leader is Blink Keys. Then is going to be Jonathan Carrison, Zachary Fitzwater. Then is Jeffrey Finguy, Avery Alford, Luke Evans, Hank Gutierrez, Anthony Nicol, Roberto Chrome Jr., and Bruno Di Giacomo. There's a lot of confusion going on as Keys manages to free himself from this mess. And yeah, I don't believe they're gonna make this one stand. Actually, no, the pace car is gonna pull to the pits, but Keys is literally all alone. I don't expect that this is going to be a regular start. I don't expect it. And now they're gonna make it stand. Green flag is in there once again, and Blink Keys has got a humongous gap from Jonathan Carrison. So Blink Keys actually going to lead his first ever laps in the 2025 PSRLA season. And now Blink Keys drops back into the pits. And now Jonathan Carrison looks to be taking the lead of the race. And we finally got yet another green flag lap. Carrison is bogged down by a bunch of modifieds and Duncan Ward. While Finguy is bogged down by another modified in William Ayers. Then we got another driver, and there goes Sloan. We're gonna go on the caution, and maybe there goes Perez and Skylar Taylor. We're gonna have the caution once again. We're going to caution once again. Ooh! Reggie Fogelman has flipped. Reggie Fogelman flipped because of the mega checkup due to the caution. And I believe we only had what, like 5-6 green flag laps? Everything has been run under caution. So as the field regains itself, let's check it triple silver cost caution number 6. Once again, we are under caution. We are looking at Tom Sloan, and he goes wide at the exit of 2 and into the backstretch. He's going to hit the wall and bump into Mendoza, who's right in that position, right there. That's gonna send Sloan into half spin. Mendoza manages to save, and amazingly enough, actually wait, did Skylar Taylor get involved in the melee as well? But even if she was, The fact that only one car was involved, considering what the crash should have looked like up until this point, is really impressive. So, yeah, I guess we can say that. And with that, see you trackside. And while the field was checking up, look at what happened with Reggie Fogelman. Now, the caution had just come out. The field was checking up to take the yellow flag, and Fogelman is pretty much makes contact with Davidson, and effectively he sends Davidson into a wall, and that's going to flip him over with the help of both Davidson and Sastry. He does one full barrel roll and then lands it on all 4 tires at the wrong side of the track. And considering how bad flips are in this series, the fact that he flipped and can continue on is actually nothing short of incredible. So yeah, there's that as well. And we're back live here once again at Iowa Speedway for the KC350. We're coming out of the caution, and the top 10 currently is Jonathan Carrison, Jeffrey Fingite, Zachary Fitzwater, Anthony Nicol, Avery Alford, Bruno Di Giacomo, Anke Gutierrez is coming, Bryce Egan, Andrew Williams, and Rowe Crown Jr. If this race goes the entire way, there's going to be one highlight reel. One big highlight reel, ladies and gentlemen. As the pace car pulls into the pits once again. Carrison and Fingite will lead us to the green flag on lap number 34. And hopefully this is going to be the money run. Green flag is in there once again. And Fingite is going to take the lead. Unless Carrison has anything to say about it, and the answer looks to be no. And here Nico's going to hit the wall, and Williams almost crashes as they finally make it clear once again into the backstretch as they close into the wall. And we got one more green flag lap, as now Fingite is starting to pull away from both his teammate and Carrison, as Fitzwater is going to take second place away from the 44 car, and now Alford may actually take advantage of the momentum. Now Fingite has a big advantage from his teammate, almost 7/10 of a second, as Alford is going on the inside of Carrison into the backstretch, and is going to take the place. He clears the 44 car, although Alford almost knows Carrison tried for a dive bomb to get the position away. But too late. Alford has gone through, and maybe Andrew Williams and Bryce Egan and Rowe Crown Jr. might take advantage of that. There goes Williams. And the slowing down. We get a caution? No, we don't. We don't have another caution for once. But in the meantime, Williams goes side by side with Carrison, and is he going to take the place? The answer is going to be no. Carrison hits the wall, so he's going to take the place. Goes Egan, Crown, and Gutierrez, and Movadell. But in the meantime, there's Hunter Mendoza, and Fingite finally has got plenty of clean air, and most importantly, more green flag laps, as now Egan and Williams battle for 4th place. And Egan is going to win it. Yep, he pretty much clears the 82 car. There goes battle between teammates, Movadell and Crown. And Movadell is going to take the place. He's going to take 6th away from one of his teammates, and now he's got to deal with another teammate in Andrew Williams. But now lap number 40, 31 laps to go. As Fingite has extended the gap from his teammate, 1.14 seconds is the gap between Fingite and Fitzwater, as Alford, I think, has closed the gap to the Aussie driver, as Movadel is glued to the rear of the 82 car. Maybe he's gonna try and attempt an overtake. Not now. Williams is gonna shut the door on him, but now he's gotta watch out because now never mind. Actually, both guys put themselves in a safety gap from Crown. Of course, Finn guy, as we've been stating pretty much the entire year, is the one. Nobody wants to win this championship more than Finn guy because of the circumstance that led to his championship last year. But in the meantime, Carrison is also glued to the rear of Crown. Carrison tried for a move, but Crown said no. They shut the door on Carrison. As Movadel is still stuck behind his teammate, the sandwich between his other two teammates in Williams and Crown, and still gonna find a way through the 82 car as the Finn guy is still pulling away from his teammate. Lap number 33 is in the books. Lap number 44 has started, and I believe the gap has increased. It definitely increased 1.4 second, almost 1.5 seconds from his teammate. As now Gutierrez makes short notice of his teammate in Anthony Nicol. There's Bruno Di Giacomo dealing with Lara Koshmar, and another driver, the championship leader currently, Zay Davidson, dealing with Luke Evans. Luke Evans, who hasn't had was pretty much a very anonymous season as of now, and there goes Movadel. Movadel is gonna go on the inside of Williams, and can he make the move stick? They're side by side into the front straight and the start finish line, and Movadel looks to make the move stick into 1 and 2, but Williams is still there. But finally, and Gary Movadel is clear of his teammate, and now Williams has got to watch himself from Roberto Crown Jr. But in the meantime, we got side by side between another pair of teammates, this time for Vision Motorsports, Alfred and Egan, and looks like Alfred is going to win this battle as Fingay pretty much looks to have this race in the bag, as Egan goes on the inside of Alfred. Egan is a playoff driver, Alfred isn't, and now Egan goes through into third place. Through goes Fitzwater. Now is the gap is 2 seconds between Fingay and Fitzwater. Of course, Ryan Durrani must be looking at this and thinking, wait, am I actually a good owner? Because bit of a run between Di Giacomo and Evans. They almost caused a caution, these two, but Evans is on the inside of Di Giacomo, but Giacomo manages to clear the 60 car, and now Di Giacomo is in 12th. And now ahead of him is got a lot of Koshmar, who's dealing with Anthony Nicol for a top 10 spot. In the meantime, the gap between Fingay, okay, that's why. The gap between Fingay and Fitzwater is diminished. It was 2 seconds before, and it was 1.6 seconds, and that's the reason why. Because they were dealing with Tanner Parton. As Fingay is going to complete lap number 50. 20 laps to go here, 20 laps to go left here at Iowa. And of course the gap has increased because now Fitzwater has dealt with with Tanner Parton, so does Tanner Parton, Bryce Egan, and so does Avery Alford. Now Guillermo is next. And now there's Philip Torres. I believe he is the lowest of the playoff drivers. And no, that's actually not true. Ooh, actually, no, never mind. There's Troy Williams Jr. Troy Williams Jr. is down in 28th. Actually, no, there's Richard Fogelman who's down in 30th. And now he's being lapped by Fingay. And we got 2 DNFs in Alexander Rowe, as we said, and Genius D'Amelio. But right now, check this out. This guy is flying. But that allowed Fitzwater to shrink the gap massively. Now only 1.23 seconds is the gap between the two teammates. But now Fitzwater's got to deal with Fogelman and William Ayers. But now Fingay's got to deal with other two lap cars in Skylar Taylor and Troy Williams Jr. Of course, we're pleased to see Troy Williams Jr. this far behind, as Fingay clears both the Toyota and the Chevrolet, as Troy Williams Jr. makes himself wide. He lets and now Troy Williams Jr. brush the wall. That's going to allow Taylor to take advantage of that. They're side by side. The two Taylors get the advantage, as Fitzwater has been reached by Bryce Egan. And now Troy Williams Jr. is going to win the battle against Skylar Taylor, unless he brushes the wall again. This time he doesn't. But in the meantime, Fingay is now dealing with he has dealt with the two Dracoman cars. First up Jack Haas, now Bradley Ream. As now Fitzwater's got to deal with both the lap cars of Troy Williams Jr. and Skylar Taylor, and also from Bryce Egan. Bryce Egan looks to be taking advantage of the situation, but Fitzwater looks to have the better drafting partner, but no, Taylor looks to be the better drafting partner, but they're still side by side. Now Egan clears both Williams Jr. and Skylar Taylor, as these two guys, Fitzwater and the 96 car, have a bit of a moment, and now Bryce Egan is up to the second place, but does he have enough time to catch up this man, Jeffrey Fingay, on his way to his 5th win of the season? But now he's got another two lap cars, the two Toyotas of Ryan Little and Anton Mendoza, as Egan's got to deal with the two Dracoman cars of Haas and Ream, as Fingay completes lap number 58 and starts lap number 59. He is caught on to the Toyotas of Little and Mendoza, at least for Little. Are they going to impede him in any way, shape or form? No. Fingay makes short notice of Little, and Fingay now starts lap number 60. There's Fitzwater catching, now glued to the rear of the 27 car. Egan is now gone through Jack Haas. Now it's going to do Bradley Ream. There goes Fitzwater. Fitzwater is going to use the decision for Bradley Ream, but no, Ream is going to actually shut the door on the 52 car, and that's going to allow Ream to keep second place, as Haas hits the wall at the exit of 4. But of course, all of that is absolutely beautiful news, beautiful scenes for Jeffrey Fingay, who is now 10 laps to go, and now going to start lap number 62. Lap number 62 begins now. The gap is 3.6 seconds, and Fingay's going to deal with another lap car, another PS Motorsports car, this time in Aubrey Gardner. And Gardner is going to make it very easy on Fingay, as now these two guys don't have any other lap cars, at least for now. Okay, actually no, 4 guys, because Egan, because both Alfred and Movedel managed to catch up to this duo of Fitzwater and Egan. But at this point, I would assume it will be too late to catch Jeffrey Fingay. Also because they got Mendoza, Little, and Davenport, and also Gardner to follow through. So right now, Fitzwater is going to battle for second place in an attempt to get Durrani a 1-2 finish. But in the meantime, if Fingay does have enough fuel in the tank, enough left in the tires, this is his race to lose. 6 laps to go left here at Iowa. We finally got a race, as now Egan deals with Hunter Mendoza. Let's see if Fitzwater can actually capitalize on that. He does get near, does get very close to Egan, and the Mendoza's not gonna give too much trouble to the Aussie driver, as now they gotta deal with Ryan Little and Charlie Davenport. But in the meantime, there is Jeffrey Finguy now dealing with Eric Monaco and Joshua Neely. Almost 4.5 seconds is the gap between the leader and the second. As we come to 3 laps to go, I believe. As Egan and Fitzwater make sure notice on Ryan Little. Now they got to deal with Charlie Davenport. Davenport for PS Motorsports. Can Fitzwater attempt to move? There he goes on the inside of Egan. Is Davenport going to make it hard on him? And the answer looks to be no. Actually, Davenport is going to help Fitzwater with the draft. But they're side by side into one. And this time Davenport does impede Fitzwater. Egan is going to keep second place. Egan is going to keep second place as Hunter Mendoza hits the wall in the background. You saw that briefly, at least you get a glimpse of it. As Fitzwater now clears Charlie Davenport, and I believe it's going to be too late to catch up to Bryce Egan, but still a 1-3 finish for Durrani Racing. And most importantly, let's look at this man, Jeffrey Finguy, now dealing with another Ford in Calasastri, and of course Tanner Parton. And Jeffrey Finguy is going to take the white flag, 1 lap to go for the defending champion. It was a complete wreckfest at the beginning. Then they sort of figured it out. And nobody has figured out this track more than this man. As he runs through 3 and 4. Jeffrey Finguy is going to Village Indianapolis. Jeffrey Finguy wins at Iowa. And second is going to be Bryce Egan and Zachary Fitzwater. These two guys definitely gave us a really good show for second place. Then it's going to be Guillermo Vidal and well, Fitzwater might be cursing. Fitzwater is probably cursing in the helmet right now because 1 more lap and we're gonna do only 1-2. And of course, Egan must be counting his lucky stars because again, 1 more lap and second place would have been gone. But the day belongs to Jeffrey Finguy, who I believe with this should be taking the lead of the championship as he slots into his pit slot. And the confirmation that Jeffrey Finguy wins the KC350 at Iowa Speedway. Second is Bryce Egan. 1 more lap and that second place would have been nothing. Then third is Zachary Fitzwater. Again, 1 more lap and that would have been a second place for Fitzwater. Durrani 1-2. Then it's Guillermo Vidal, Avery Alford, Andrew Williams, Roberto Crown Jr., Jonathan Carrison, Leonard Koshmar, and Anke Gutierrez running out the top 10. 22 drivers on the lead lap. And despite everything, only 2 DNFs in Gini Stamelio and Alexander Rowe. But from 23rd to 33rd, it's only 1 lap down. They've got Jack Haas and William Ayers 2 laps down. And they've got Ryan Little, Tanner Parton, and Hunter Mendoza 3 laps down. Oh, dear God. Oh, thank God that I decided to wait until we actually got a race, because I was honestly thinking of just red flag the race and continue tomorrow. But thank God I didn't, because that was some really good racing. I mean, we ended up getting both chaos and great racing, especially for second place between Fitzwater and Egan. And that was continuing on from what I want to say earlier before I got interrupted by I believe it was Evans and DiGiacomo having that moment. Now Durrani's probably looking at this and thinking, wait, am I actually a competent team owner? Because actually, now that I think about it, of course, this also is basically a double win for Durrani, because of course Finguy is won the race and possibly taking the lead of the playoffs as well, and Finguy gets to extend the lead of the best of the rest. So he's the winner of the best of the rest drivers. So yeah, this is basically a double win for Durrani. But yeah, and of course, as a to continue to finish off my statement, the runner must be looking at this and thinking that maybe he's actually a good team owner, because you don't have a situation like this where where both of your guys were quick by being a mediocre team owner, and I know that, but yeah, that was an interesting race, and I guess it's finally time to look at the championship standings after this race. And we're back live here at Iowa Speedway for the Casey's 350 that has just finished. And as we stated, Jeffrey Finguy is back, is the new playoff leader, 9 points clear of Gary Movedel. Third is Zane Davidson, 12 points behind the Durrani driver. Then Nathan Stapleton drops down to 4th. Jonathan Carrison is now in 5th. Andrew Williams is in 6th. Robert Crown Jr. is in 7th. Bryce Egan is in 8th. Philip Torres drops down 4 places and drops down to 9th. Troy Williams Jr. is 10th. Leonard Karshmar is 11th. And Reggie Fogelman is the last of the playoff drivers. And as we stated, Fitzwater keeps the lead of the best of the rest drivers, 28 points clear of Avery Alford in second place / 14th. And of course, Tom Sloan is a little bit far behind. But yeah, again, thank God I decided to keep the race running, because yeah, that was an interesting situation, and we got a really good battle for second place actually. But yeah, we got 6 cautions today. 23 laps were led under yellow flag, were driven under yellow flag. But fortunately, the second half of the race did indeed deliver. So yeah, nothing much else to be said. And next week we are going for our final road course race of the season at Watkins Glen. So that's going to be another. So maybe we could see Nathan Stapleton try and prove to the and we can see Stapleton basically kick his championship up back into action, or maybe we're going to see Angel Gutierrez win again, or Andrew Williams pull another miracle and kickstart his playoff hopes again, or maybe you actually see Finguy score win number 6. Who knows? This is going to be This is going to be a very interesting 8 weeks for the 2025 season, and honestly, I cannot wait for those. But yeah, this has been it for the race, and there's nothing else to be said other than this has been a special presentation of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series 44 Network. I'm Alex Vitale, and see you next week for round 25 of the championship, the Pfizer 400 at Watkins Glen. So long, everybody, from Iowa. Congrats again to Jeffrey Finguy.